Tales, no truth to tell. Lying lips like a prison cell. Judges blind, caseworkers fall. Stealing families, no justice at all. Gunning for justice, screaming loud. Tear through lies, break the shroud. Till the truth is known. One man stands, fire in his heart. Gunner fights, tears the dark apart. CPS deep in the corruption game. He lights the match, sets it aflame. Gunning for justice, screaming loud. Tear through lies, break the shroud. For the kids, the broken homes. We won't stop till the truth is known. Family shattered, tears on the ground. Echoes of voices in silence drowned. We are the storm, we are the fight. Through the shadow, we'll bring the light. Gunning for justice, screaming loud. Tear through lies, break the shroud. For the kids, the broken homes. We won't stop till the truth is known.
Hey look, this for every mama got her baby snatched on some bogus shit. For every pops they locked out the crib like he ain't blood. CPS, y'all been eating off pain for too long. We know what you on, but now it's war, this gunning foe, CPS. Kick doors, no warrants, they taking our seeds. Say it's neglect, but they planting they greed. Feds in they pocket, judge got a fee. Run it like a business, adoption spree. Contracts overseas, got partners in France. But shorty from Shy, he ain't get a chance. Mama work 2 jobs, daddy do right, but they still snatch his baby in the middle of the night. Fuck CPS, they ain't saving shit. Just a system full of snakes getting rich off kids. We see through the cap, we done taken the hit. Now it's Suffer Davis popping and we loaded the clip. Gunna got the case, now we in that fight. Taking this to SCOTUS, shining that light. They ruined good homes, now we flipping that script. Time to bring them back, time to empty the clip. They labeled us monsters, called us unfit, but it's they paperwork dirty, all of it forged and flipped. How the fuck they selling babies to a bidder overseas? Then tell the fam you unworthy. Man, please, we got mamas in pain, daddies in tears. They breaking our hearts, been doing it for years. Now we riding with Gunner, and we got the proof. Sworn under oath, now it's time for truth. Trump got the team and the pen in his hand. He said bring them home, now that's the plan. You feds been hiding, but it's over now. We moving like an army, and we ain't bowing down. Fuck CPS, they ain't saving shit. Just a system full of snakes getting rich off kids. We see through the cap, we done taken the hit. Now it's Suffer Davis popping and we loaded the clip. notice, shining that light. They ruined good homes, now we flipping that script. Time to bring them back, time to empty the clip. They ain't gods, they ain't law, they just people, corrupt people. And when the people rise, ain't no system safe. The Chi-Town, it's the movement. We gunning for CPS, and we coming heavy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wait.
I'm gonna pull the whole thing down. I'm gonna bring the whole fucking diseased, corrupt temple down on your head. It's gotta be biblical.
Good evening, good Sunday evening. Welcome to Gunning for CPS. I'm your host, Gunner. And guess what? We're not going to piss people off today. We're here to burn this mother right down to the damn ground. This is why. Now, I'm going to bring out once again a special guest tonight. Once again, welcome the CPS Punisher. I'm going to bring out the CPS Punisher here and get his opinion. But guys, I've got something here. Piss people off. Here we are. There's Darren and Darren Seelan. And so, guys, I want to share this first video with you. And I'm hoping, Darren, you there?
I'm here, my man.
There he is. Okay, Darren, I want you to watch this next video. And I believe right now is the loudest right now. Anybody dealing with CPS needs to be so loud now, especially with the Epstein files coming out and everything else they did. I want to show you this video because this is going to take and flip you out, because here's the thing. If this is not the feeling of our nation right here, right now, check this out. This guy says it all.
I think y'all are missing the big fucking detail here. Like, y'all are focused too fucking hard on all the big people. I get it, we should get them. But they didn't go snatch our kids themselves. They had help from the hospital, from the judge, from the sheriff, from the deputy, from an inmate, from a teacher, from a CPS worker, from an employee, from a neighbor. They had help. I think y'all are missing the big fucking detail here. Like, y'all are focused too fucking hard.
Now,
mandated reporters.
Epstein got his kids from somewhere. CPS. Diddy got the kids from somewhere. CPS. It's all exposed as Pam Bondi comes out. We can't arrest everybody and shut down the nation. Do you know what our response is? Burn the motherfucker to the ground.
Yeah, that's it.
Shut down CPS. 100%. If this isn't a reason where most people, Darren, and I don't know about you guys, I've been hearing people talking about taking up arms and actually they've had enough with this. If this doesn't go through with Epstein and they don't shut this down and the stuff where they got the kids and arrest everybody, this is civil war.
March 7th, they're saying.
Guys, I don't.
How could it not be?
Exactly. But see, here's the thing that most people, I think, in the CPS world that's been dealing with these bastards, these dirty, evil people that like to, traffic children and once again, sacrifice them and everything else that you're finding out. That you got the videos to prove it. For those of you that have seen it, Darren, I know you've watched a lot of it, but man, you can only take so much of that stuff, man.
Pretty horrid stuff, man.
And here's the thing. Where did those kids come from? They stole them from the arms of somebody's parents. Listen, I would rather see a child in with a drug user than I would with
Of course.
traffic to anything else. This is one of the reasons why abolishing CPS is the only answer. Now, a lot of stuff that we talk on here, and I'm going to cover this real quick. When we talk about case law, we talk about this, we talk about that. You have to understand it's unique. We try to explore the possibilities of what it is, but it's going to be unique how things are applied to each situation. It's not a one size fits all because every case is different. That's why we're here to educate. We're not your attorney or somebody else that's doing it or practicing or giving legal advice. Why? Because we're not telling you this applies to your particular case or this, that. We can tell you the qualifications that these things would qualify, but at the same time, when you put something out there, that's not misinformation because it did not apply to your case. Hello?
Right.
That's not misinformation. It just doesn't apply to your case or your circumstance. Right. And a lot of times, for somebody to tell like Darren or I, to go through, well, I did this, I did it. Well, great. You've not been where I've been. You've not been digging through this stuff as long as I have. And these AI programs are there to guide you. But once again, they're not always right.
They're still learning too, man.
They're always trying to give you the
and here's the other thing. There's a lot of stuff, especially in the law, and Darren will tell you going through law school and everything else, there's stuff that's never been overturned and still on the books that's still law that has not even been uploaded yet into these systems.
Well, it was not only what, a year ago that they were only dated to like 2022 and 2023. They didn't even have current events.
Yeah.
So you couldn't even depend on them for that.
I mean, eventually something may catch up, but at the same time, once again, going to everything for ChatGPT, to Grok, to any of these other things, they have their faults. Do your due diligence. There is no substitute for cracking open a book. Bottom line.
And the law, listen, the law is an arguable thing. There's no fundamentals. There's no nothing in there's no certains in the law. Everything is arguable. So, your ChatGPT might say one thing, but mine Grok says this. Both of them are correct in their fundamentals and how they're arguing. That's what law is. That's why you have an attorney. You have an attorney's
perspective.
That you have one that's prosecuting. You have a defense attorney. They're arguing out the concept of the law.
This is my viewpoint. This is how I see it. Once again, you have to understand too, if you go down the route of, say, a pro se litigant of some of those things, which, once again, an attorney's not going to fight for you because it's not his ass on the line. It's yours.
Well, and he's got money to make, man.
And he's going to, well, exactly. But 90% of the people that they take an attack with CPS, don't have that extra money.
No, they do. They just don't want to allocate it.
Well, there are some. I'll agree with you within that circumstance, but a lot of those people, there are people that have the circumstance of, I just can't. I just can't with this or that. There are some people that they're indigent, or they're this or they're that, or some of these other things. Yes, probably there's a lot of them that have made some bad decisions with money, but and some people learn faster than others. Let's just put it that way.
Right.
But we all start out with that concept of money, but at the same time, there's another concept. Once again, that we're going through in our country. What about everything to do with, rumors that are stirring around that the Fed was taken over? I don't know if you've heard something about that there was something that was done possibly to take the Fed over and actually put it, instead of being a private company, of actually being under the United States government, because it was too much power and it's out of control. And I can see that leading to probably, if that's following through, those things that we're hearing, and we're hearing a lot of rumors of those things, guys, of, hey, there's been some paperwork going on. They're getting the Fed. You guys already know he's not happy with the Fed. We're not happy with the Fed with what they're doing.
Well, that's why they came up with that QFS, the quantum financial system, and all of that. They want to get away from the fiat dollar and back to the gold and all of that.
Gold and silver standard.
Gold, and then you know what? They're coming up hard on this cryptocurrency stuff. They have their big summit coming up tomorrow or the next day.
Well, wow! Now that
world,
they've took and weeded out the fact that Epstein was behind Bitcoin, wow! And now you got to question all the people
bye
that,
bye Bitcoin.
huh?
I said bye bye Bitcoin.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about nosedive, and then we talk about the photos. I mean, we all grew up with that same photo company taking pictures of everybody growing up. You know
Yeah,
what?
life service. What are they? 24 life or something like
Yeah,
that? 23
yeah,
life
they've
service or some shit.
lifestyle or something like that photography, and making it like a menu for this that this guy had access
Yeah,
to this.
catalog.
It's a catalog. It's a Sears catalog. Order
Yeah.
what you want.
I've been saying that forever about the nurses and stuff in the schools. I mean, the nurses in the hospitals and everything. If you're not going to tell me that they don't have a friend, one of those crooked nurses don't have a friend over at CPS, that they're looking for a blonde-haired, blue-eyed baby or something like that, that they're not picking up that phone and saying, "Hey, we've got one. We can make this parent be on drugs right now. Come and
Yep,
get this
dirty
baby."
drug test.
You get $500, $500, $1,000 in their pocket just to make that phone call. Done deal.
Yeah, and we broke that story about coming on with the nurses saying that this actually happens. That they have buddies and they actually go through. Hey, we want this, and what do you do? Hey, we'll qualify you for the next vacation, all expense paid to this summit group, and you'll get credit for it too. I mean, this is how they do it. And it's crooked as hell. And the drug companies were doing the same. But then here's another thing, fun fact that I found out this week is the U.S. pulled out of what was it, the WHO or something like that, World Health Organization, and like overnight there's like 9 or 10 different cancers cures that they've been hiding from everybody, and it's like, are you freaking kidding me? I mean, what part of our country? I mean, the medical field's corrupt, the government's corrupt. This and that, guys. This is why, and everybody keeps hounding back and forth. And I want to make something clear: we get our freedoms, our moral compass, our political agenda for this country. If you're an American in this country, that you swear and you swear to this country, your undying thing, not dual citizenship. In other words, this is your country you stand for. There's another topic right there: is dual citizenship of these CPS workers. No way in hell they should ever have a job. No damn way. Not doing this, not with children, because these are American children. Because if you have a divided allegiance, I'm sorry, which side are you going to fall on today? It's just that simple. And it's just that simple. And you may say, well, that's political, but no, that's as clear as the bell. If I'm, American German, and all of a sudden, what side are you fighting for today? And why are you taking a job with this, let alone children? And that's where we ended up finding, believe it or not, a lot of people that were doing the international trafficking. What did they have? Dual citizenship. Yeah, we've got the evidence on that stuff too. But
75%, or is it 75% or 84%? In between there, there's a 10 degree discretionary points there. But the kids that are rescued abroad are coming from CPS in the United States.
Yep.
It's a lot, man.
How is American children even allowed to legally even be adopted or anything across any border other than within our own? As an American citizen,
nobody knows they're missing, man. Nobody knows they're missing.
I know, but now with the Epstein, guys, this is the biggest time right now to be as loud as possible. Share your story of how they got the kids. You want to know, and this is how you start those conversations when you hear people. When people talk about Epstein, and you just happen to overhear and go, "Hey, did you know those kids came from CPS?" Just like in my case, where they're trying to mess with me and steal my kids. Did you go that far down the rabbit hole? Oh, they got the like the guy said, where did the kids come from? The nurses, the doc. Did you hear him just bang off that list, man? I couldn't have done it any better than myself. And that dude just hammered that thing. And this is where they came from. They're coming from us.
Yeah.
But how is this going to go any farther? With this has got to stop. And the people that you say protect us, such as the sheriffs, the law enforcement, and this and that, they're on the side of CPS, and they're right there stealing the kids to traffic them. So what does that mean? Any police officer, law enforcement, this and that has aided and abetted them are just as guilty as CPS is. That's where they're getting these damn kids. These ain't foreigner kids; they're Americans.
Yep. This is out of control, man. Out of control.
I just can't wrap my head around this. Now, we've dealt a lot with the courts. I want you to watch this next one, and this is going to blow your damn mind. And this is a, I believe it was a summit is where this conference came from, and it was on the Supreme Court, and it deals with administrative law judges. I want you to hear what they debate back and forth that will freaking blow your mind. That tells about the corruption so bad they even know about it. Check this out.
Point you make in the book is how Americans are 10 times more likely to wind up before an administrative judge in a federal court. And in these administrative judges, they play prosecutor and judge. How different is that from the federal judiciary, and why is it increasing so much on the regulatory and the executive side?
Yeah. So, what are administrative judges? How might you encounter them? If you're regulated like Marty Hahn, for example, the magician, and you are prosecuted by the agency, many of them have the opportunity, rather than to bring their charges against you in court, they can bring them before their own employees, okay? For civil matters, if they want just money from you, just money.
That's like,
right? Or to close your business, or to take away your license, right? Your livelihood. They call themselves administrative law judges. We used to call them hearing officers, but now they like to wear robes and they have
the clowns acting
the whole thing. And at any rate, what does that look like? Do you think that administrative law judge, who sometimes reports to the same agency that's prosecuting you,
executive branch,
is going to be as fair as somebody who's got life tenure, doesn't care what anybody thinks, right? Nobody, go ahead, right? I don't care, right? That's the beauty of the system. That's how Madison designed it, so that I could do unpopular things. And I could vindicate people like Marty Hahn when maybe their bosses at the agency wouldn't like that and could retaliate against that
Remember
person.
Judge Green, Secretary of State?
Do you get a jury? No jury in those cases. No jury. That's gone too. And then what do the procedures look like? Basic procedures, like getting the evidence against you and being able to cross-examine those who are charging you. Those are also very, very different. You may not get the right to cross-examination in those proceedings. And yes, today, according to Professor Jonathan Turley, you are 10 times more likely to wind up in front of one of those judges than a real judge.
A real judge, right?
And a jury of your peers.
Yeah. See?
And so I do write about this. This is part of what's happened and changed in my lifetime in our law. And there's more about it in the book.
A couple of questions that were submitted.
Wow, that is a Supreme Court justice calling out all administrative law judges basically as being unconstitutional. Did you hear it? This is supposed to only be done with the employees. So if it's only done with employees, how am I property of the state? How am I one of their own? Because now it's like doing something between what's fair and right, which we're supposed to be guaranteed in a court when we walk into a courtroom, that it's not that. Why? Because then we see the same thing with CPS, self-serving. Why? Who employs the judge or the magistrate? The state. Who does CPS work for or subcontract to? The state. This is why Article 3, Section 2, Clause 2 specifically says any case involving what he's talking about, you versus the state, is supposed to be in a federal court. They have original jurisdiction. This is why, to eliminate the bias. He explained it so beautifully. This is why. They're the employees. Of course, it's not going to go against itself. This is why everybody with CPS cases is having trouble. This is where the divide needs to come up and say, listen, how am I proud? This is the concept. I'm not one of the property or this and that. It says right there, me versus the state. When it did that, it even violates the original Constitution, Article 3, Section 2, Clause 2. There's a reason that was put in our Constitution that these administrative law courts are doing that there ain't no way in hell they should be doing. Isn't that right, Darren?
You have that 100% nail on the head, man. He even said it. They're, they're getting their little finaglings on. They're wearing the robes. They're dressing up to be the part. They're not who they say that they are. They're not what they are supposed to be. They're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, which is not adjudicating in these courts. This guy just said it.
I mean, right there. You don't want to believe it. This is a Supreme Court. God, you know what? He said he had a book out. I'm going to have to go find that book now. Because now I'm really interested in reading that and what else he has to say. And the perspective he may shine on so much that maybe we're missing in some of these cases, that these states don't have jurisdiction, which means Rooker versus Feldman doesn't apply whatsoever. What a stronger argument of that's exactly what he was saying. And think how Rooker versus Feldman applies. It's a state matter. It's a state issue. How is this a state issue when it deals with, you see what I'm saying? Now your Rooker versus Feldman is gone, because now what? It's not a state issue. Once again, it's about we the people versus them. There's the argument.
Right.
And you have to hit it on, like I said, you got to get to these things of saying, well, there's a one size fits all. You don't have, and that comes back to jurisdiction. You don't have jurisdiction when the state's on the other side. This goes to the federal courts, but they assume the jurisdiction illegally because this violates the Constitution. If we can get case law on this, and specifically towards CPS, which I believe is one of our tactics, is to expose that. Imagine what that does for every case. Wait a minute. Why? Here's the argument. You're not supposed to be dealing with this. I didn't consent to any of this or CPS doing what they're doing and everything else. What does that mean? You can't. That's why a lot of people, you'll hear the term, the state can't deal with you unless they contract with you. And everybody says, well, this is why they tell you don't sign anything CPS gives you. Why? You're signing a contract.
Yeah.
Now they're lost. But once again, the judges aren't going to do this. And did you notice he pointed that out? These people work off of winning the cases or finding you guilty to get paid.
Yeah.
Oh, he called it out, and then he said, "What's the difference between that and federal court? What's federal court, Darren? The judges get paid by the cases."
Well, yeah, they're appointed. No, they're appointed for a lifetime. First of all, that's how they're paid. And he says it there. Like the difference between them ruling or them being paid by the case are two different things.
No influence. There's the other thing I like that he made that point of. And then he went back to the connection where he goes, I don't answer to the other people. I don't give a shit what you think, basically, is what the federal judge says. I'm going to rule independently. I don't have any influence. You're not supposed to. That's what Madison designed did you catch that? That's what our Madison took and did by design in the Constitution when they set up that third branch of government. So this shit wouldn't happen.
Right. Separation of powers.
Separation. Oh, did we just hit on another thing to take and touch on in a federal court? How is this not supposed to do? Is that separation of powers? It's a good argument. It's a question for the federal court to answer. That independent judge, isn't this a separation of powers issue? Guys, once again, this is how we bring out going down these these rabbit holes and showing you guys the videos and everything else is because ideas like this pop up because, wait a minute, isn't that? Oh, now you've made the connection. This is what we're talking about when we give you like the case law and some of the other things and how it applies to your case is to turn around and go, oh, wow, that applies to my case. Why? Because it sounds good. That I can use. But not everything works for everybody. I don't think a lot of people understand that, especially with these movements of people saying, well, isn't there a one size fits all of this is that. Yeah. But at the same time, you got to get it into a courtroom to prove it. And then you've got to go with this. But at the same time, that's why we're saying right now, make as much noise as you can with this Epstein thing, man. Where the hell do you think they got the kids from? Where? I mean, this is crazy. Where do they come from? Now, I'm going to deal with this. Now, somebody else brought this up, Darren, about non-disclosures. That when you got them, right? Okay. And then your local government or your state government comes in and goes, here, I need you guys all to sign these as non-disclosures as government employees to talk about all the illegal stuff or anything else that happened. I mean, we see that all the time in the courts and everything else, and them trying to do these things, and they do it because they agree to it. But as a state employee working in, now this is where we have to separate those terminologies between their personal capacity and their official capacity. When they have their official capacity, you can't not talk about it. Why? Because you did it as a government actor and you were paid to do it that particular way. It's open to the people. What happens in your private life is your business. But when you do it as acting as one of the government or a government actor or a representative of the state or federal government, there's no non-disclosure. Matter of fact, somebody got called out for that lately. And I wanted to share this one quick little clip right here. Check this out.
Would you like to rescind your NDAs on the other two that aren't under NDAs right now?
No NDA should ever be signed by an elected official.
Okay. And can everyone give a functional reason why? Because you want to find out what's there. That's not how you're going to fight a legal battle, by incumbing yourself an NDA with a private company. You're not sign an NDA with a company that's going to encumber you or is going to actually put hardship on your residents, and you made a terrible mistake. So would you like to rescind your NDAs on the other two that aren't under NDAs right now?
No NDA should ever be signed by an.
Wow. You can't cover yourself with an NDA. That's bullshit to hide your crimes. You can't deal with this. You can't do no. You screwed up. This, and you know how many times I've seen that, especially around here, Darren, is in a lot of stuff that's been going on. And there's this huge debate on this little corner. It's this little bitty corner. It had a little cabin house in it. And I think it was Pigeon Forge or Sevierville did eminent domain on it, never paid the lady for her land, and leveled the house, the entire thing, never paid off the mortgage or nothing, and the house is already leveled. And because of all these criminal acts, now they're going off and trying to do some bullshit in the government with some NDAs. Well, we can't talk about it. We can't talk about it. I have an NDA. These are public officials. And what it came down to is part of the story that I was following with it is that the reason they took this person's house for the eminent domain, because the option would have ran through one of the elected officials' buddies' campground and basically destroyed his business. So it was found that it's easier to destroy somebody's home rather than somebody's business that pays them more taxes. Oh, that's got to hurt. You know what I'm saying? You're on mute there, bud.
At the end of the day, man, it doesn't matter. It's all about the money. That's what it all boils down to. It's all about the freaking
every
money.
time.
Doesn't matter what they're doing. So this is why you got to take this out of the, you take money out of this stuff, you take the corruption out. That's it. You abolish CPS, you take the fraud away, you get rid of the corruption.
Okay, well now now that you've mentioned the corruption, Darren, I've got a little bit of another little clip for you. Check this one out with corruption to show you how bad the corruption is, because maybe people don't understand how bad the corruption is. Watch this next video.
That's all funded by people like me that pay taxes.
So you're telling me that the electrician who goes to work every day and clocks in and works his butt off and tries to earn just enough to be able to, make his rent, maybe have a kid or two, put food on the table, his tax money is being used to buy other people luxury items, cars, yachts, whatever else, and is going to fund terrorism and child trafficking?
Yes, sir.
$1 trillion a year on this stuff?
$115 million an hour.
$115 million an hour. How do they get in their hands on it? What are we talking about here? Trends, national organizations, criminal networks? How do they get their hands on this money?
They take advantage of antiquated government systems and processes. They go into programs that's all funded by people like me that pay taxes.
So you're telling me that the electrician who goes to work.
Wow, guys, there it is. I think Darren had to jump to the back room. Darren, there's something with the font on the chat that's really large. Can we make that smaller by chance? I don't know why that changed, but excuse me. Guys, 100 and what million an hour? Why are we paying taxes? To give luxury to elected and appointed officials to have spending accounts and grant money through NGOs. A little dry there. Why are we paying taxes at all? If that's what it's going to. How is that helping the average American people? And did you hear him? The average person goes to work, does this and all this other stuff to get by. Excuse me. How? To get by while these people use our tax money for luxuries. Luxuries. This is disgusting. What our country has now been revealed to doing, it's absolutely disgusting. This is one of the reasons why in the Declaration of Independence, and well, I'll tell you what, let's just be real clear. Let's go there. It tells us what we should have done, and what's going on. It will tell us. And I'm going to share the screen. I've got it pulled up. This is once again from the archives. Let's go through this together, because you guys we need to understand where we're at as a nation. We need to be educated. Why this needs to stop. Do my best here. I hope you guys can see that pretty good out there in the audience. I want you to read, and I think you can see this, and I'm going to highlight this section of right here. Prudence, indeed, will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes. In other words, we're supposed to stay pretty stable and rock solid in our core values, okay? Is what that means. And accordingly, all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer. In other words, we're easily trapped, all of us. It even tells us about this, that our civilizations, and as individuals, we are disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable. In other words, we tolerated so much. We've tolerated CPS and this. Well, now the Epstein comes up. Now, where did they get those kids? Now it's not sufferable anymore. We can't do this anymore. It says that, and we're going to go on here. It says that to right themselves by, what does that say? Abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed to. But listen, it goes on. It says, but when a long train of abuses like CPS and usurpations and pursuing invariable the same object, events is designed to reduce them under absolute despotism. It is their right and duty. In other words, you have reduced us down to nothingness, which is what it's done to the American people with CPS. All this is garbage. If the police aren't arresting somebody for a crime or this and that, piss off. Government's not supposed to be able to tell us what to do with this. Why? Because First Amendment, our religious beliefs, our beliefs on how things are done. You can't interfere with it unless somebody's been truly harmed criminally. Now read this part. It is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patent sufferances of these colonies. And it goes on saying, this is what we're doing. This is what we're going. It's no different now than what it was back in the founding days of this country. And we said, and we promised when they did that and they created the Constitution right after this, establishing the law part of it. So understand, the Declaration of Independence is supposed to give the people that are dealing with the Constitution the mindset as they're going into these courtrooms to make sure none of this garbage that was happening or anything parallel or similar to it was to happen to us ever again. And if it did, we're to go in there and abolish it. Says it right there. You guys read it. I read it. That's supposed to be every American's moral compass is in there. As an American, as a, I won't get, some people use the term citizen of this country, resident of this country. You pledge allegiance to the, even when someone becomes an American citizen and become, immigrants and this and that, they have to shun off allegiance to their previous country to become an American citizen. And to become, one of us is the way it's supposed to go. That means you can't have allegiance, viewpoints, any of those other things. You can't bring those over with you into America. And you're willing to have a renewing or a changing of your mind as a new person or a citizen of, either born here and or immigrated here. The concept is the same thing, goes back there, that we will only tolerate so much evil. How evil is it to steal a damn kid and then, no matter what situation, at least they're with family? And we're coming to find out that it's not the families that are the abusers. Look at the news. It's the people that are trafficking them, CPS workers that are trafficking them through Diddy's, through Epstein's, through other names, Maxine Gildwell, all those, and anybody else that goes into that crazy stuff. All those people, yes, gut them. 100%, Mr. President, Pam Bondi. If you do not, I can tell you right now, the feeling of this country, if they don't go after everybody involved, including CPS on this, and shut this down, there will be a civil war. It's that bad. Our leaders were pedophiles and child traffickers. They've got the evidence. It's now out to the American people. It's been given to us on what we're going to do. And this is maybe what it's going to come down to. Maybe it's time. Why? Because we're not the only persons doing it. Here's the other thing that they don't show you guys, and being a international reporter, go look at Spain. Go look at Australia. Go look at England. Go look at France. They're in the damn streets telling them they've had a hell. There's other governments that have overthrown their leaders over this. They're putting them in jail. They're going to kill them. That are on that damn Epstein list. And we're over here, we got Pam Bondi over here going, well, if I did it, it would shut down the whole government if I did my job. There's where feelings get in over facts. I don't give a shit. And nor does any other American out there, especially if you've had your child taken or you've ever dealt with CPS. You don't give a shit. Take them down from the very top all the way down to the damn bottom and hang every single one of them after they've been found guilty, as accordingly, for treason. Once again, not calling for you're talking about this. No, I'm telling you what the legal way is doing it. Once again, once you're found guilty of treason, yeah, you pay a fine or you die. And or it depends on them. But for the grievous crimes of what you've done to our children and sacrifice, oh no, I think Congressman Tim Burchett said it right. Get every single one of these sick bastards and everything else and bring back public hanging. Show the American people and other countries, if you do this in our country, we're going to kill you. This government will kill you. That's exactly the message we should be putting out there. That would take and scare the hell out of everybody. Absolutely, John. We know what's going on in Canada. We know what's going on in New Zealand. We know what's going on in Australia. We know what's going on in Thailand. We know all about all of this. This is not just an American problem that we're dealing with. This is happening all over the world. It's all been uncovered. And a whole lot of other things is coming uncovered too. Yeah, the banking industry, crooked as hell. Bet you didn't hear about the case out of Michigan that most of you that have a mortgage. One guy up in just and you can go look this up for yourself. Up in Michigan, turned around and took his mortgage company to the federal courts, saying that I got a loan or a mortgage on a particular piece of property. I pay a service company X amount of dollars, or they get interest. When all they really did is they never put up any true collateral that I owe that mortgage company anything. And they don't want you guys to hear about this case. This is one of those, don't talk about it, don't spread it. Because if you did, it turned everything upside down. With the particulars on this here, he said the bank or the mortgage company never put up a single dime. What did they do? They filled out a piece of paper or kind of like an application to the Fed to allow them to take and make money. And then they make profit on something they never risked. All they did was go to the Fed and say, print us money. Make this happen as like a piece of paper, as a digital type currency. Yep, the Huntington Bank and Nationwide Insurance in Ohio worked for Werner and Epstein. Yeah, a lot of that's coming out. Wexner, yeah, it was Wexner. Yeah, there's all sorts of companies. They're saying some of the top officials, because of what has happened in all this stuff that's been going on and people doing that's what Pam Bondi's talking about. It's not just government officials. It is people in very, very, very powerful places that steer things like banking, insurance, all these major industries, head of top and CEOs of all sorts of stuff. It's not just Hollywood that's the freak. It's everybody involved that's in high places. Why? Because once again, the spin on it is it was possibly a huge blackmail scam. Blackmail, get them to do whomever. And there's the question we're not asking. And I did a post on this on my Facebook, looking up upstream and downstream. Well, downstream, you got all the CPS workers and everything with CPS, the judges, the courts. That's all those, all these administrative law judges, these illegal, unconstitutional judges. There's the first part. That's where they got the kids. Well, now you're doing this, and the question is was it to pull strings on too much of each other and keep everybody else in line? But there's I got a feeling that there's a puppet master or two that's been doing every bit of this. And now some people have alluded that this was a blackmail scheme for the Israeli government. That has come up. That's been a thing of topic. I've been following that story. We've got no definitive on it. but we need to know who the puppet masters are that have been doing this to control all these people and politicians, because they're basically running our country off of blackmail. So why would Pam Bondi even stop for a second to even think about this? It would tear it all down. You're absolutely right. Go after them and go downstream and get all the CPS people and all the corrupt judges and the cops, like that guy was saying, get all of them that were involved in this, every single one of them, clean slate. But don't forget to look up even higher above these people of who was pulling the strings. Somebody's pulling the strings, and in certain areas to do certain things, possibly just not in our country, but possibly worldwide, because we also understand it wasn't just our country, folks. It's across the world. It's not a joke. It's not a joke anymore. It's not a, and this was what I like to tell everybody is, and it cracks me up. It's those things of saying it's misinformation. That's a CIA word. No, it can't be that. They're conspiracy theorists. Misinformation. You ever hear people use those terms? You know what's funny? Especially the things that I found when you get into that, and people love to throw that around you at misinformation. It's not misinformation. It's the fact that you're about to get caught. And there's something about you that you don't want others to see, that, once again, it's not misinformation. Yeah, or you're just, once again, uneducated. But I've heard that most of my life when it came to the Kennedy assassination, that it came to MK Ultra, it was this, it was that. I heard all about it. I heard some other people with firsthand experience with it. I made my own individual decision. But you know what ended up funny when I would take and tell people that it was my decision based off the research I had? It's misinformation. It's conspiracy theory and this and that. And yet I sit here today after the past year, and now we look back that it's all been declassified. I guess I was never wrong. The problem was you're not looking at what I'm looking at. And the thing is maybe you can't see it because you just can't. That's why we got to be open to have conversation with people without turning around and pointing fingers and talking smack. And, especially with these geeks, maybe there's something in what they're saying that's got some truth to it. Or if somebody, well, it's that far-fetched. Is MK Ultra that far-fetched? Is the tunnels that far-fetched? Is the sacrificing and the torture of children that far-fetched? Not anymore. Why? Because now you got the hard evidence to know. Now you have enough information to get that switch in your brain to click and go, wow, I guess it really is happening. And then all of a sudden everybody's appalled. And you got other people over here going like, yeah, we told you this was happening. Now you're going to make the connection between Epstein and CPS? You're going to shut that down because you need to. And you need to arrest every single person that participated. You need to find every single one of those kids that was gone through this stuff, all the way back to the CPS worker, and hold them accountable. From every family they were taken from, every single one of them, all the way from the caseworker that took the child. They should have never left the safety of home. And now you want to talk about public school. Well, let's have that conversation. Now we're finding out more and more, especially through here. Oh, Pizzagate's been confirmed. Absolutely. All of it's been confirmed, man. John, all those things that we were told, the people that were told that believed or read on those things, and all those things that were going on. Oh, you're full of crap. You're a liar. You're giving out, false information. Well, now all of a sudden you stand vindicated. That's why you don't see me changing my, with things like this. If I've got something I've made a mistake on, I'm a big enough man to turn around. Guess I was wrong. But when I turn around and I look at everything and go, hey, this is pretty solid, I've done my homework, and then I challenge you to do yours. And once again, it's not a one size fits all. Maybe that case law works for you. Maybe it doesn't. But just because it doesn't work for your case doesn't mean it doesn't work for another case. Every case is different. But once again, the big rule is CPS should not be in our lives. We're here because we got a complaint. Well, I got a complaint. You know, it comes through here. Walk through my door with no damn warrant and watch me splatter your brains all across my living room. Because regardless of what the state says, my Constitution says you come in here and you don't have a warrant. And the only way you could come in is saying extenuant circumstance. In other words, you visually saw somebody getting ready to be actually hurt is one of the only reasons you could come into a house and violate the fourth. Other than that, there's nothing else. Well, we smelt something. We did that. No, that don't work. Have a nice day. Step off. But see, they don't want you to hear things like that, that you have a Second Amendment to defend your Fourth Amendment right in your home. I see so many people do this, and let alone they just have caseworkers, and then they just come in the house with this and that, and instead of, you know, like, hey, you got a warrant. Well, I have this, or I have a false court, or I have this, that. No, you have a court order. A court order is not the same thing as a warrant. Those judges, if you heard that earlier, that's an administrative law judge. You know, the only one that can take it and sign a legal warrant that's actually legal is is somebody that's an Article 3. Article 3 judge. Those are the only ones that have the power. The states can't delegate that power if not delegated by Congress, which makes it an Article 1. And there's only special exceptions for those. And they don't exist. That's why they come in with court orders and they don't come in with a warrant. But yet they push past you. Go ahead, we'll take that to a federal court. And you know what the federal court's going to say? Because now it is a constitutional issue. Why? There was a court order, but there wasn't a warrant. Court order says if you catch them out of doing this, you have a thing to remove children. Great. You got a warrant to come in? Because as soon as that door's locked and everything else and stuff like that, you can't. I have a right to be secure and all this other stuff. And people knew that even back when, earlier times in our country, you didn't enter a person's home. You got shot. Dead. Didn't matter where. You got shot. Yeah. Oh, that was a big thing too. And now let's touch on that, Tracy, a little bit with COVID. COVID was an experiment. They've admitted now that it was an experiment to mess with this, whether or not you would give up your rights and do as you were told. They have admitted to that. What a perfect way to lock you down and then turn around and say, well, now there's this. Now, yeah, you've created the environment. Well, here's the thing. If it was anything COVID related, I would use that piece of evidence of them admitting that it was an experiment used on people. It wasn't real. And that now those people, as well as your government, has created the scenario or related thing. That's called entrapment. Oh, snap. Did I just give you that? You're damn right you can use it. Why? Here's the evidence. Take it right into a federal courtroom, Your Honor. They created the environment by doing this. We never had a problem before the COVID-19. Wow. Guys, there's all sorts of stuff out there, man. You just got to know how to, one, you got to understand your rights. You got to understand a little bit of case law, but you got to understand how it applies. And like Darren said, we had the conversation earlier, it's on perspective. Just because the other side's got a perspective on how the law or anything else reads, you've got your perspective. This is why you bring it in, and which one cancels out which, or which one's even higher. Now you start telling them you violated your state's constitution, which I believe a certain Blount County, Tennessee judge and magistrate did. That was the same judge and magistrate that Jessica Saxton has. Yes, and the justice organization, I forgot what it's called. You'll have to forgive me, that they're doing. We had the same judge and magistrate. Whoa. Yeah. Taking and violating your own state's constitutions in one of your state courtroom. You're telling me that judge and CPS would do all that? Yes. Yes, they will, because the same organization, CPS, gave away the rights to everybody in the state of Tennessee for CPS to come in without a warrant. And that is 100% unconstitutional. And it's right in their policies, procedures, and handbooks. That's right. Go check your own state when you go down those rabbit holes, because it says the same damn thing. This is a nationwide protect. This is why when they come in the house, it stops in a minute. What happens when somebody, why it's a state worker? Who has to investigate that? The feds. That's why they started coming to your houses with police officers, because some people got smart and somebody got. Why? Some people got shot and you didn't hear it in the news. And when it came down to it, the caseworker came in illegally and they had every right to defend their home. Why? Because they were there to snatch children with no paperwork and no warrant, and they broke into a house and they got killed. Go down the rabbit hole and look for them. You got to look a little bit deeper into them, because they hide a lot of those things on the internet, but they're still out there. Yeah. When it went up to the federal, no warrant. No state worker or anybody else has any legal right to do any of this. I've seen it. I agree, James. At the same time, it's happening everywhere. But here's the problem. You know why they're getting away with it? Because they softened you up at public school to turn around that everything that a law enforcement officer does is legal and right, and they're the good guys. I think we've come to find out over time, especially as we've all lived our lives, police ain't always the good guys. State workers aren't always the good guys. They don't follow the rules. They don't do this. That you're seeing it all the time. They're getting caught. Hell, you had the state of Tennessee get caught on fabricating DUIs to mess with people. They're still uncovering stuff with that. And that's national news. Guys, I don't know what to tell you, but like I said, get your stories out there. Stir this up. If you have a conversation, all you guys out there, and share with all your friends. It's time to talk. If somebody talks about Epstein, this is the time to have the conversation. You know those kids came from CPS, right? That ain't from some third world country. Them sneaking them in here. That's our own children. That's American children. And you've seen it on the videos. Now it's out. They just can't. These are the children they traffic. This is what CPS does. Now's the time to bring attention to CPS they don't want. This is what they feared with the Epstein, because they know they provided the kids. They know they provided the kids. Hell, you even had Sean Diddy Combs on one of the recordings that was put out there. Hey, CPS is on the way. If y'all ain't got your key, you'll get this out of here. Oh, well, wait a minute, what? And then it come to find out there was some workers and some other people working with P. Diddy to supply them. And they weren't all from California. They were from across the United States, your state. Trafficked. What's it going to take, people? What's it going to take for America to wake up and shake it off and be done? And overturn this stuff and go back to the Constitution and knock all this crap off. We'd be a lot happier. We'd be a lot safer. We would own stuff, and half the stuff that we're dealing with and the stress we have in our lives wouldn't be there, because once you realize what true freedom is and the stuff they're not supposed to be doing, and Canada, John, yeah, worldwide. You guys watching this worldwide over New Zealand and in France, and I know a lot of you guys pick up the show, so on and so forth through there. We've had contact from Spain, from France, from everywhere, man. I mean, all over the place. You guys have got to stand up and make a damn noise, especially now that the Epstein files are out. Some of those people, it's like, who the hell are they? Oh, they were people from it. They're not always big names. That list is long. And it was all used to control the vote, control the power, control the oil, to do this, to enslave all of us. The thing is they wanted to go back to having a pharaoh without people realizing we had a pharaoh or somebody that was playing king god for the entire world, pulling the strings. That's the person we need to find, or the group we need to find, and hold them accountable. Guys, I'm going to wrap it up with right there. Burn it down, guys. It's time to just shout from the rooftops, have those conversations. Somebody brings up Epstein, bam, you're right there talking about CPS and everything else. Now we wake up the other half and the other people. Oh my God, you know where they got those? They got them from CPS. People go, no, they didn't get it from CPS. Oh, so you're for trafficking children and kidnapping children and all these other, you go look it up. Go look at it, because they've already admitted it came from CPS. Hell, they admitted, the White House admitted for the Biden administration, yes, we trafficked children. We did as Americans. We trafficked our own future generation to do this. And then you've got other places out there. You want to smear somebody's name? Start framing people. That's the other thing that CPS loves to do. Frame people for people that got them caught doing criminal activity. Then they'll smear something on you like they tried to do to me. But guess what? Now the tables getting ready to turn, aren't they, Cupcake? Because now you're being called out. And now you're going to be called out in courts and everything else. Because here's the other thing. You thought we were coming before? Oh, no, plans changed, because so much more was discovered. And we're going to tie you up so damn bad, expose every bit of you, and not just on the show, but in the courtroom. Matter of fact, we're going to put it right back before the judge, because in Tennessee, part of your appellate process is you have to go back to the same judge that ruled on it, especially when you're doing a Rule 60, because of mass corruption and or, like I said, a law change. Those things. So now you can put it in there. Here's your chance, Judge. Don't just overturn it. Matter of fact, so when it says that you've done it that bad, you don't have to overturn it. You're required to void it as though it never happened. Uh-oh, that's some careers. Then you go up the ladder, keep going. You can go all the way to the state, to everybody that's running these CPS said they're fully aware of the criminal activity they're doing. Expose it, opens the door for everything. Trafficking, all of it. Guys, don't give up. Fight. Fight, fight. This is war. Now we have the ammunition we needed, the other thing to go on. Ride this Epstein out of where those kids came from. Put it out there loud. All your posts. Thank you again. Once again, check out our show. Once again, next week, and we'll go to we'll see where we end up. Okay, and keep in contact. Like I said, guys, follow me on Facebook if you guys are following. Once again, our news page, Gunning for CPS, or Gunner Evers on there. Once again, everybody says, "Well, Gunner, what about TikTok?" I can't do TikTok. Why? Because I'm giving them the same information I've been giving you guys and all this truth, and they called it misinformation. No, you just didn't want to be exposed. So, guys, have faith in yourself, and even though it's getting tough, and there's going to come a time where there's some dark days, hold your chin up, know what you're doing, and don't know that you just rolled over just because. Stand for something. Have integrity and honor to say, I'm not going to compromise this just because I do this. I'm not going to bow to CPS for any reason when you're corrupt as hell. And I'm going to fight you every tooth of the way. Why? Because eventually I'm going to get you. And we've been nipping at their heels for a long time. And now some of these cases, now we're being heard. Now Epstein's out. Now you have to hear us. You have to hear us. Because those kids didn't magically come out of nowhere. It's time to expose it. All the dark history, even everything that's been going on for the decades it has. It's time to stop it, abolish it, and make sure it never happens again. Leave people's family and kids alone. Even in their worst, darkest days, is still a better day than in the custody of CPS, no matter what. And if it's truly an abuse situation, there better be some damn criminal charges. Otherwise, I'm going to call it as this. In my opinion, I call it horse shit. Because if it ain't got a criminal charge to it, nah, that ain't the way this country works. Criminal doesn't exist. Love you guys. See you next week, and stay strong and love on somebody this week. Thanks again. It's the movement. We gunning for CPS, and we coming heavy. Yeah.